This is a ManeHustle Media podcast.
Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Jackie O and you're listening to Militantly Mixed.
Yo, this is Rashani from the Single Simulcast. And when I'm not making you laugh or making up parody songs, I'm kicking back, listening to Militantly Mixed.
Hey y'all, welcome to Militantly Mixed, the podcast about race and identity from the mixed race perspective. I am your host, Charmaine, aka Mixed Girl Maine. And I have so much to tell you in so little time because I missed all of last week. ManeHustle Media, not a single episode of any of the shows aired last week because this month has gotten entirely away from me. I have been busy every single day this month doing a lot of stuff that is helping to further ManeHustle Media and all of the shows in the future. But as a result, it prevented me from getting the work done for the shows for last week. Things also got really dark for me personally, which I'll get into a little bit. And then it got really bright personally, which I'll get into in a little bit. But basically, I have hit a wall in terms of my personal resource, my body, being able to do the work that I need to do. I have been in a process of preparing for crowdfunding to launch ManeHustle Media Mobile Studios. And because of that work, it's a lot of intense labor ahead of launching the business. And so that's been occupying a big portion of the first couple weeks of October. And then I went to the Work It Fest, which was put on by WNYC Studios. It is a women podcasting festival convention, which basically I was a scholarship winner, which is great because I wouldn't have been able to attend if not. I went to 2 days of panels about podcasting and focusing on how women can, become more known in the podcasting game. I met some amazing women, some local women that are podcasting independently as well. We had lunch together and it was such a great time. I got to meet actually someone I completely fangirled out on in person to her face, Brittany Luce from the show The Nod. I think if you listen to this show or you listen to Blurred Comics, you would really also like The Nod if you're not already listening. That is put on by Gimlet Media, and Brittany Luce is one of the co-hosts. I listen to that show every week, and I just walked up to her, which is completely out of character because I grew up in LA and I work in the entertainment. I don't often get swayed by celebrity, but hearing Brittany Luce's voice come out of a human face in front of me fangirled me like crazy. And I walked right up to her after her panel and I was like, "Can I fangirl at you?" And she's like, "Yes." And we took a picture and we talked and she even hugged me, which even though I have my thing about hugging, because I'm British and Japanese and not necessarily comfortable with hugging strangers, I received the hug and enjoyed the hug, and I was so excited to get a chance to meet her in person. She's someone who a lot of the times is saying things that I'm feeling, and it was really exciting to get to see her in body right in front of me at the Work It Fest. And then immediately after that was LA Comic Con. So I basically had just a few days in between, and I did 3 days straight at LA Comic Con with my co-host Blurred Vision. We met some amazing independent comic book artists, black and brown folks that are inserting into the game, and this is a big part of why we do Blurred Comics as well, is we're trying to find black and brown people that are shaking things up in the comic book industry and making them realize that we're out here and we want our stories represented too. So if you listen to that show, you're going to hear over the next couple weeks a lot of interviews with some dope ass brown and black comic book creators, and I'm just really excited about all of that stuff. It was such an amazing span of like a week and change of really empowering and enriching and educational panels and networking experiences and things like that. I was overwhelmed by social interaction over the first couple weeks of October because of how much I had, but all positive. And then things got real dark for me. My unemployment got canceled unexpectedly. I still expected to have 5 weeks left on it. So I've been interviewing for jobs like crazy in the hopes that I can bridge that gap. I can start working before my unemployment ran out. But that didn't happen. It just ran out. I believed I had 5 weeks left. I have still no explanation as to why it canceled short, but it canceled, and I was screwed. A really dark and embarrassing moment. I posted on Facebook about my personal emergency situation and created a little fundraiser, and my friends and family came through in a way that I did not expect would have happened. Within a few hours, I had made up the difference from what I was going to lack on unemployment not coming through, plus some more. And I've almost hit my fundraising goal on Facebook. And it's just like, I can't even believe that everybody came through for me like that. So I will be able to get through this month. And then I also started a temp job. It is for about a third of the pay that I'm used to getting, but it is money and it is a job and it is something. So I started that on Tuesday as well. And gosh, it was just like it was been a roller coaster, high highs and low lows. And the same day that I find out I lose my unemployment, I go to LA Comic Con and have a blast during the day, and then I come home freaked out, you know. So it was just a crazy, crazy. Um, Especially the last week and a half has been really, really crazy. But things turned around a bit. I'm a lot more relaxed and calm because I know the fundraiser money will be paying out soon and I'll be able to pay my bills. And this temp job so far seems to be working out. And if I can negotiate an increase, then maybe I won't have to stress out anymore and I can just get back to doing the thing that I want to do, which is this podcasting thing. But what all this busyness has taught me is that as I am attempting to grow the audience of all the shows, and as I am attempting to launch ManeHustle Media Mobile Studios, I am going to definitely need more support. I cannot keep doing this on my own. I have finally hit the wall that makes me realize I can't do as much as I think that I can. I'm doing a lot, and I will continue to keep it up as long as I can. But last week was the first time I failed to release any episodes because everything fell behind, and that was crazy. But it logistically was impossible. I had something booked every single day. I wasn't able to get it done. I was finding ways during my lunch break to edit here and there. I was making progress about in 10-minute blocks basically whenever I had a break to try to edit. And so none of those episodes have released, and now I discover my hard drive is corrupted. Luckily, your girl has backups on everything, so I can rebuild those, but that means I'm going to have to duplicate work I've already done because my hard drive, my main hard drive got corrupted. So that is a whole thing too. I'm going to try to rebuild this very complicated edit that I had from Militantly Mixed last week. I'm not going to be able to get it done in time to release this week. So it might be something that gets pushed into November because I have two episodes back to back already scheduled for the 22nd and the 29th. People who already know those dates. So things got real complicated, y'all. And it really makes me realize that if I'm not able to hire a backup editor, there are going to be times as I continue to pursue launching this business that it's going to fall through the cracks. I produce and edit Blurred Comics and Black Radical Queer as well. By Furious, I've had to skip several episodes because of me being too backed up, and I think I realized I kind of grew too big too fast, too big for my britches. And but my content I think is important. People are connecting with it, and I'm not going to slow down. I'm not going to stop. I just need support. And the way you can help me is to go to patreon.com/militantlymixed and donate as low as $1 to as high as anything you wish. It is a monthly sponsorship. There's different reward levels depending on where you donate. And I've had people recently increase their donations. I will shout you out as soon as I get my bearings. I haven't even been able to really check anything. I just see the emails have been coming through. I just haven't been able to open them. And I've also received some new donations as well. So as soon as I get caught up on all these episodes, I will get caught up on the social media as well. But I need to hire somebody. I need to hire someone that can assist me on a part-time basis on either the social media side or on the editing side or both. And I originally set a goal to hit $500 by the end of December, and now that's looking like I need to double that, honestly. So where I'm at right now, we are at $274 a month. The goal for October was $300. I'm still going to keep pace and trying to add $100 a month to donorship. That's weird. Sponsorship. But yeah, it's looking like it's growing faster than I have time to catch up on. So if we can achieve higher than $500 by the end of the year, that would allow me to be able to do that while I continue to pursue launching ManeHustle Media Mobile Studios. I haven't been able to talk about it that much yet. I'm going to start talking about it soon, but suffice it to say, the description is in the title, ManeHustle Media Mobile Studios, and I'll get into it a little bit further in the future. One thing I do want to take a moment out for before I get into the rest of the things. Last week, someone left me a voicemail on Skype, on the Skype phone number, and this is the first time I've received a voicemail related to Militantly Mixed. This is someone who recently decided to sponsor the show via Patreon, and they're a new listener. They just discovered the show recently on a school break and decided to binge, and felt like, yes, they absolutely needed to sponsor the show. And they left me a voicemail. And I haven't had a chance to talk with this person much or even ask permission to share this story. So I'm only going to refer to the person as T, and I'm not going to gender the person at all. They'll know who they are when they hear it. But I need to talk about it because of what it did to me. I get emails and DMs almost every week about the show. I feel really, really lucky in the kind of engagement that I get on the show. And for the first year of the show, a lot of those emails were about how people were just alone in isolation in their mixedness and feeling like they needed a connection, and started Googling. They found the show, and it really affected them or resonated with them because it was, certain episodes were similar to their experience. And then I would use that opportunity to try to bring someone over to the show. Sometimes it works and you've heard those episodes. And sometimes people have stayed in contact with me even though they haven't come on the show, mostly because, they're not comfortable to talk publicly, or, whatever the reasons. It's that part's not important. But the part that is important is that they stay engaged with me, because I am a touchstone now for mixed race folks, and I'm trying to be that for y'all. I needed it, and I created a show to get it. You need it, and you listen to the show to get it. So that's been primarily the kind of emails I've gotten in the first year of the show. Now that we're crossing closer to the 1.5 year mark, the messages have changed. So they all used to be very similar in style and in story. This is my mixed race background. I was alone, or it was just me and my siblings, and we never saw mixed race people. We're in isolation, things like that. Heard your show, connected with your show, thank you for the show, and then I try to get them on the show. Now the messages that are coming to me via email and DMs are about identity crisis, about really not loving themselves or not sure where they fit. Similar to the beginning, but now specifically where they're noting that they're in identity crisis mode. I talked a couple weeks ago on the solo episode about self-hate because of an interaction like that I had. And then I followed it up after that person and I re-engaged. And I've gotten a couple more messages about that. So all of that stuff is sort of informing my current research on what I can do to improve the show to help people who are dealing with identity crisis. I think it's gone beyond experience at this point. I think it was very important and continues to be very important that Militantly Mixed is a podcast that shares mixed race experiences from the mouths of those mixed race people. But I think now it is time probably to also insert an element that includes helping and therapy and wellness about mixed raceness. And I have a lot to learn in that department. The way I've been doing it is talking to other mixed race people. But eventually we're going to need something maybe a little heavier, stronger, or maybe some of us will need something a little heavier and stronger. So that's just a little background to get to where I'm at right now. So last week I received this voicemail, the very first voicemail I've received from Militantly Mixed. And while I've been moved to emotion before from the emails, I was really thrown by hearing the voice of somebody who I've not engaged with in any other way talking about the show to me. So this person, I'm calling them T, left a voicemail to say that they just discovered the show. They were on a school break and decided to binge the show. And they, were hearing me talk about how I need help to be able to keep it going. And they talked about their being in an identity crisis at the moment and really not understanding where they fit. And the sound in their voice, in the voicemail, halted me. Like, I didn't know. I haven't been able to read the messages I've received with that kind of emotion before because I didn't think about it that way. But this person had true emotion in their voice and ending with basically a please don't stop. Please keep this going. We need this space. And I listened to it back to back like 15 times in the first receiving of the message. And the day that I got the message was that really dark day where I found out that my unemployment was canceled and I didn't know if I was going to be able to pay the bills. And I really thought I was going to be, the likelihood of being homeless in a couple weeks was back. And like things have just been financially so difficult at home. And it's also bothered me in terms of my status as a person. Because over the last 20 years, I have amassed a lot of skill sets. I have been a high ranking manager in most of the companies that I've worked at. And I found myself in a position a couple years ago to be laid off for circumstances I'm not allowed to speak about of something that happened to me. And it's really frustrating to not be able to talk about it because its impact on my life. It derailed my career, and over the last couple of years, I haven't been able to work at the level of my skill, and I haven't been able to make money at the level that my skill level used to produce. And so I've been struggling financially for the last couple of years, and it has affected my self-esteem in the way of like knowing how talented I can be and not having the chance to do it because of this thing that happened. And the only thing that dug me out of that is Militantly Mixed, is being able to create this show and talk about the stuff that we go through as mixed race people. It's distracted me from the pain of what happened to me professionally. It's enriched my life so much because of the people I get to talk to. And then I hear T's message. Well, no, I guess I feel in isolation in that, like, I get to enjoy it, but at the end of the day, it's me and a headphone and a microphone in my apartment doing this while also trying to get by and survive. And then I hear T's message when I was at a very, very low point. And I know people have it rough, and I can only deal with like my version of roughness. And right now, my version of roughness is, where am I going to live in a couple weeks if I can't find a job? And I hear T's message, and they're talking about their current crisis, identity crisis, and they say the words like, please don't stop. We need this so much. And I'm so grateful to T because that message got me back on track when I was feeling like, shit, this might fall apart soon. And I'm going to try to find ways to keep it going, but I might be living in my car and having to go into a Starbucks and record an episode or something. It snapped me back into the reality of how important this is. I think that it is. I don't think I'm blowing smoke when I talk about how important Militantly Mixed is. I know it's important because of how much it changed me, and how much it improved my life as the host, as the creator. And I've been so lucky to get to speak to the people that I've spoken to around the world It has been such an amazing experience. And I can't go back. I know I can't go back now. But I was losing it. I was feeling like it was going to be gone soon. At the time that I'm putting in the most amount of effort to keep it going, I was losing everything to make it possible to keep it going. And T's message snapped me back into reality of the situation is that I'm resourceful. I can figure shit out. Obviously, I have people who are support me because I did this personal fundraiser and my friends and family came through to help me pay my bills to get me through the month. People are coming through on Patreon to help me keep the show going, to help me hit my goal each month so far. Um, and I didn't know how bad I needed a voicemail like that. I think it was meaningful because it was a voicemail and I didn't get to insert my, oh, no, 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 oh, it's not me, I didn't do it, or anything like that. They just got to talk about their feelings about the show, and I had to listen. I've probably listened to that voicemail at this point, I don't know. I just keep playing it, but that first night I listened to it like 15 times, and I cried listening to it. I cried telling my husband about it. Obviously, I'm crying fucking right now. So Militantly Mix has changed me in so many ways. I used to be really uncomfortable being emotional around people. I'm still uncomfortable, but I'm getting used to it. Um, and I'm starting to feel better when I do get to release that emotion with somebody else. And I know that I can't stop. Even as things have gotten difficult, I know that I can't stop. I have to keep it going. And if I'm able to launch the business will support continuing the shows. The Patreon sponsorship will continue to support the shows, and I believe that it is possible that this will happen. I mean, there are shows about things that are way less important subject-wise that are making thousands of dollars. I don't expect to ever get there, but I would like to be able to support myself while I do this, and I think that is within reason and possible. So I want to say thank you to T for sending me that voicemail because I needed to hear the effect, like the way that you explained it, and I hope that I continue to serve the community in the way that has been helpful to you and to others, and I'm gonna keep it going. I'm gonna need a break. Whew. So, yeah, I don't know where I've left off, but that's what's been going on, folks. I'm sorry that I missed last week. I'm going to try to get back on track to this weekend and keep things going. So thank you to everybody who has been continuing to listen and support and engage. I have so much more engagement now than I've ever had before, and it makes it a lot more real, even though I am recording sitting in at a desk in my living room in my small LA apartment. The social media engagement, the voicemail, this is making this real for me outside of my little apartment. So I thank you to everybody who has been contributing. I know that there have been people who have donated on Patreon in the last week that I haven't been able to acknowledge on social media or on the shows yet. And that's because I just need to be catching up. And as soon as I do, I will get those out there to y'all. But thank you for your patience with me. I got a lot of nice messages when I put out that I was falling behind, and people were telling me, they understood why things were falling behind. So thank you to everybody for your continued support and helping me keep this show going. And if you can, sponsor the show as low as $1 to as high as anything you wish. There's different reward levels. I have new levels that are going to be coming soon for stuff that I learned at the podcast festival that might be interesting for folks to donate at. But go to patreon.com/militantlymixed to donate on a monthly basis, or paypal.me/militantlymixed to donate on a one-time only or as you like it type of way. Also, continue to engage with me. You can leave me a voicemail on my Skype line 323-545-6001 and let me know how the show is impacting you, or if there's any particular subject matters that you want me to cover. I did do the episode on self-hate, which was really just a reaction to an experience that I had. And then I did the episode on Mixed Dish, which is, it's hard not to mention Mixed Dish, the TV show, while it's happening. And so I may do this from time to time, other solo episodes or topical episodes. It is something that I find interesting. So yeah, holla at me. Let me know how you feel. Email me at charmaine@militantlymix.com. It's S as in Sam, HAR, M as in Mary, N as in Nancy, E at militantlymix.com. And yeah, so without further ado, I guess it's time to start the show. Oh my gosh, I've been talking for over 25 minutes. All right, well, I might have to break this up into two because I don't want to distract away from my episode this week. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I'll go ahead and release this over the weekend. One last announcement, which I didn't remember to say, I don't know how. Last night I was on TV. I was on Fox Soul, which I didn't even know Fox had a black channel, but I was a guest on the Mike and Donnie show. It aired at 8 p.m. Pacific time. On Friday, October 18th, and the subject was colorism. I did get to announce it a little bit on social media right before. Honestly, when I signed up to participate, I thought it was going to be like a web vlog. I didn't even know what show, and then I pulled up to the studio and I saw all the Fox signs, and I was like, and then I walked into the studio and it said Fox Soul everywhere. So I was a guest on the Mike and Donnie show. There were 3 panelists, myself, Cheryl Bedford, one of the producers of the Dark Girls documentary, who I actually have met in person a couple times. We're both members of the Women in Media group and Cheryl's group, Women of Color United, which is a film production organization for women of color. And the third guest, I forget her last name, but her first name was Rachel. She is a comedian, and actually she's going to be a guest on a future episode of Militantly Mixed. So we'll get into that in a couple of weeks probably. But it hasn't loaded yet. It was live on TV, but the stream of it will be available at some point today, and today is October 19th. I'm just waiting for it to pop up. When it does pop up, I will share it on all the social medias. But yeah, your girl was on Fox Soul talking about colorism, and I was really glad to have the opportunity to do that. Also really crazy to hear the words militantly mixed on knowing that it was being broadcast on live television. That was dope. So hopefully I'll get more opportunities to talk about mixedness and to talk about colorism and other issues that are near and dear to my own experience and to y'all's in a lot of cases. So keep up on the social media so you can see the clip when that is, or it's not a clip, it's an hour-long show when that pops up. But in the meantime, I think I'm going to go ahead and release this today, and I will have a regular episode for you on October 22nd. My guest this week will be Milena. She is the author of Lavender, What Are You?, which is a children's book about a mixed-race child. She herself is mixed race. She is also a parent. And of course, we're all familiar with the dreaded question, what are you? And how dehumanizing that can be. And here is an example of how somebody deals with that question. They write a book. So I'm really excited to be able to share that interview with you next week. Thank you for sticking with me, for understanding the breaks and things like that. I'm growing this business. 2020 is going to be the year of ManeHustle Media. It is going to be my major efforts. Everything I want to do is to start this business and get it off and running. So that's what's happening. If I do dip or if things slow down a little bit on the podcast side, it's only because once I can get this studio up and running, everything will be a lot easier in terms of production of these shows, and hopefully we'll actually start to be able to service more folks that are trying to put out their shows, underrepresented Black and brown folks that are trying to get their side hustles into their main hustles, turn their side hustles into their main hustles. So thank you all for staying with me, and I'll be back next week. Bye. Militantly Mix is a ManeHustle Media podcast, produced and hosted by me, Charmaine Fury. Music is by David Bogan the One. You can follow us on social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Militantly Mixed. If you'd like to become a sponsor of Militantly Mixed, please go to patreon.com/militantlymixed for monthly sponsorship, or paypal.me/militantlymixed for a one-time only donation. And if you like what you hear on Militantly Mixed, please subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. And don't forget to be your mixed ass self. ManeHustle Media. Turn your side hustle into your main hustle.